How's it going, everyone? We've got some major PlayStation 5 game updates to go over in this video. Huge JRPG has been confirmed for the PS5. We'll talk about that. Remake of some iconic Resident Evil games are unsurprisingly in the works, and a bit of an update on Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Now, I don't care a lot about Warhammer 40k, but I do care quite a bit about Space Marine 2. There's been a lot of talk about the fact that the game is not going to have microtransactions. Is the game going to have microtransactions? Let's talk about it, because I feel like some of this stuff is getting lost in discussion. So, first of all, do want to note this news running around about Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Now, the headlines that you are going to see over and over again, the developer has confirmed that the game has no microtransactions. So, okay, game has no microtransactions. Let me just say, it is a little bit sad that we're getting to the point where no microtransactions becomes more of a news story than the game having microtransactions, but this is the era we live in. If it was announced that an Assassin's Creed game was gonna have no microtransactions, that would be one of the biggest gaming news stories in a while, but the fact that it has microtransactions, oh, that's just to be expected at this point. It was noted, Focus brand manager Sylvain Leroux noted that plans are in place for purely cosmetic season passes that will be delivered in several phases. It was noted, everything you'll get in the passes is purely cosmetic. All the gameplay additions, whether it's new missions or new enemies or all of that, will come for free to all players. And in the latest blog post, the publisher elaborates, we want Space Marine 2 to be an experience tailor-crafted for the players. Hence, we're happy to confirm that there aren't any microtransactions in Space Marine 2, no in-game cash shop, all gameplay content and features will be free to all players. Any paid DLC will be cosmetic only. Guys, cosmetic DLC, that's still a microtransaction. Unless it's a $40 cosmetic DLC and you want to say at that point it's not, there ain't no micro about $40 DLC. Brothers, cosmetic content, if it's buyable and it's priced at $3 to $5, that is microtransactions, and I would imagine that it's $3 to $5. I have said, as far as Stellar Blade is concerned, the idea of cosmetic costumes that are microtransactions, you can add that as DLC. That's still a microtransactions being added to the game. Am I crazy? Isn't that what a microtransaction is? I guess you could say that maybe microtransactions are like an in-game store where you can buy things directly in-game, and it's priced at $1.99, it gets promoted, and so on and so forth. That's kind of how it works with a lot of other games. I guess if you just want to say it's DLC that you have to buy outside of the game, I don't know. I don't know exactly what dictates what's a microtransaction and what's not a microtransaction. If it's a small purchase that's DLC content and it's cosmetic, it's kind of a microtransaction to me, and you're outlining that before the game even comes out. Like Stellar Blade, we're talking about that being something they implement while not even talking about it pre-launch. You know, it's a post-launch if they do crossovers with other games. That's what I've always been talking about as far as cosmetics, but that would still be a microtransaction. In this case, you're outlining it ahead of release, well before release. It's DLC. Even if it's cosmetic only, that's still a microtransaction. It's not something you have to take into account, and it's certainly not as egregious as a lot of other games do. Let me add that Focus is doing the early access gimmick for this game. The Gold Edition, I believe, is $90 or $100, something like that, and that'll get you 3 days early access of the game. You guys know how I feel about that. Absolutely hate it. So take that for what you will as well. As far as Space Marine 2, the game goes, said it before, I think this game looks absolutely phenomenal. One of my more anticipated games for the rest of the year, and I was excited about it when we initially saw gameplay of this game, but now my excitement level is just increasing. I think this game can be not even one of the sleepers. I feel like by the time we're ready for this game to come out, more and more people are going to talk about it, and it's going to be one of the more anticipated games. So I think it's going to do well from that standpoint. It's just this debate on what's microtransactions, what's not. Bro, if it's a cosmetic small purchase, feel like that's a microtransaction. Am I crazy? Am I wrong about that? You can say it's cosmetic only. That's still a microtransaction, but there you go with that. Moving on from that, Dragon Quest III in HD 2D has been confirmed for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Surprisingly, no PlayStation 4 version. I guess this game is going to come out at a point where they don't want to do a PS4 version, because right now, only scheduled for PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC, because obviously, if it can run on Switch, it should be able to run on PlayStation 4. The video itself does not mention Dragon Quest III by name, but it does display the mark that appears in Dragon Quest II Luminaries of the Legendary Line, and Dragon Quest III The legacy begins and the quest begins. The Dragon Quest and HD 2D logos are shown above the mark, and the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, Switch, Steam, and Windows logos are shown as well. Again, no PS4 and no Xbox One logos are shown either. A little bit surprising, but, you know, we can get Call of Duty Black Ops 6 onto the PlayStation 4, but I guess Dragon Quest 3 is a little bit too bougie for that. So, yeah, there you go with that. Exciting JRPG to come as far as that's gonna go, and that'll definitely be a major release from Square Enix. Also, there was some discussion about Dragon Quest 12, The Flames of Fate, the next mainline Dragon Quest title. As noted, as a part of Dragon Quest Day, it was noted, thank you so much to everyone for many Dragon Quest Day congratulations. There has been some worry about Dragon Quest 12, but I was actually in a meeting about it until just a bit ago. While I can't share any details yet, I want it to be something worthy of Akira Toriyama and Koichi Sugiyama, who passed away. I'll do my best. Dragon Quest 12: The Flames of Fate was announced back in 2021. I imagine they don't want to get to a point where they're announcing or doing a big reveal of the game, I should say, while it's still fairly early on in development. They did do a very initial teaser reveal, but that was it. We still don't know platforms. We still don't know exact details. It was noted it was going to be a little bit more mature of a Dragon Quest game, but right now, details are still fairly scarce. I wouldn't be doing a big gameplay reveal or a big info drop until this game is probably at least a year out from release. So, you know, 9 months to a year before its release, then I would start talking about it. Revealing it now to only tell you that the game's coming out in 2027 does nobody any good. Maybe you can be of the mindset that, hey, maybe they shouldn't have revealed the game in the first place, but, you know, they just revealed the logo and stuff like that. It wasn't like that major of a reveal, so I thought it was fine. It was kind of, you know, insinuated from very early on that the game was still early on in development, and it was going to take a while for it to come out. So I'm thinking it's going to be 2027, 2026, like around that range for you to actually get your hands on Dragon Quest 12. Maybe it'll be a 25 title, a late 25 title, but that's the absolute earliest that I could see. And if it's a late 25 title, I imagine the reveals at that point would be coming up by the end of this year. But nevertheless, DQ12 is still in development and making progress, so don't worry too much about that. It's a Square Enix JRPG. These things take time to cook, as the kids say. But lastly, Aesthetic Gamer, aka Dust Golem, noted a remake of Resident Evil 0 and Code Veronica is in development right now. I've talked to many others behind the scenes about this at this point. It's something I heard over a year ago. Think it was going to get out, whether I was the one to say it or not, and that's about it. The rumor is the next Resident Evil game is going to be Resident Evil 9, which makes sense. They generally alternate between the release of like a brand new game and a remake. That's not entirely true. Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 came out back-to-back years, and then Village came out, and then Resident Evil 4 Remake came out last year. It seems like they're damn near trying to annualize the Resident Evil franchise, but not quite, since 2024 doesn't look to have a major Resident Evil release. But it's been a super consistent franchise, because if you go back, we got Biohazard in 2017, we got RE2 in 2019, RE3 in 2020, there was Resident Evil Village in 2022, and then Resident Evil 4 Remake in 2023. So the turnout rate, while it hasn't been annualized, it has been super consistent and at an incredibly high quality level, not to mention, and I would imagine the next major Resident Evil game would be out by 2025. So you're looking at a bi-yearly release calendar for major Resident Evil titles, when you have new mainline titles and then also remakes of these classic games. And Resident Evil 0 is due for a remake, and Code Veronica, obviously a no-brainer. I imagine at some point they're going to do a Resident Evil 5 remake. That's not as necessary. I mean, RE5 as a remake I still think would do fairly well, and I think people would be pretty damn excited. 2008, you know, was the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 era, so those games, not going to say hold up really well, but they hold up better than, let's say, some of the older titles. But it should be noted, like, that era of games, those are the titles that are starting to get remakes as well. You look at a Dead Space, that got a remake, received well, commercially didn't blow everybody away, but that was received fairly well from a quality standpoint. And I think remaking that era of games makes a lot of sense at this point. I mean, go back and remake Uncharted 1. That would be awesome. But nevertheless, as far as Resident Evil goes, it looks like some of the next remakes you can expect are RE0 and Code Veronica. At the very least, they are in development now. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Dragon Quest 3 in HD 2D is on the way. Dragon Quest 12 is still in active development, don't worry about that. Resident Evil Zero and Code Veronica remakes looking to be in development. And let me know what you guys think about the Space Marine 2 debate on microtransactions. Is that a microtransaction? Is it not a microtransaction? Am I crazy? Let me know. I am more annoyed about the early access gimmick being baked into this game, but that's more so every game these days. So that's another thing that, like microtransactions, it's going to be a news story at some point when it doesn't have fake early access baked into it. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.